Is technology slowly killing the car industry? And the answer might surprise you. Welcome to Remuda Racing. I'm your host, Michael Rube. Now, today we're gonna ask the question, so in a world where just all car companies are adding so many screens on the inside of their car, it's I don't know how it's not more of an issue. Like there's screens here, and there's screens for your passenger, and there's screens on the next to the window, and there's this, and then there's a screen here, and there's too many screens. As somebody who has ADHD, there are too many screens in cars now, okay? And now they're getting way too complicated. Technology is everywhere, and yes, some technology is good. Like, benefits of the technology was having a rear-facing camera. So good, love that. But now they want to have screens inside of our cars now too. Like, not screens, cameras inside of our cars. I don't know, I think we're kind of getting lost in the sauce a little bit. You know, we're seeing all of these complicated tech, and now some of these car companies are adding subscription models to use their heated seats. German cars. Anyway, everything seems to be on a touch screen. And what I want to ask the question is it hurting the car industry? And I think it really is. And what we're going to talk about is exactly what's happening with the Dodge Durango, and we're also going to talk about Nissan, what they're doing, how they're reading the market, and what are some concept cars that they've just released, and why that's interesting. Let's get into it. Previous video, I've talked about Stellantis and how they're really trying to change up the game, and some things that they're getting right, and some things it seems like they're falling into success purely out of accident. And I think the Dodge Durango is a perfect example. In a world, again, filled with technology, the basic hero, the V8 legend of the Dodge Durango surpasses us all. And you know what? It's looking awesome. So let's get into it. Dodge Durango sales are up 41%. They sold only in Q1 of this year over 20,000 units. Basically keeping Stellantis alive right now. That's what it's doing right now. Let's break it down. What are you getting with the Dodge Durango, the RT? So that's like one of the slower options. You're getting a 5.7 Hemi V8. You're getting 360 horsepower. You're getting 390 foot-pound-feet of torque. You're getting over 8,000 pounds of towing capacity, and with a starting price of under $50,000. When you go up to the higher trims, you're talking like getting the Hellcat, then you're going up to $80,000. And with that Hellcat, you're getting a 6.2 liter V8. You're getting a supercharged V8, 700 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. One of the fastest SUVs that has ever been created, ever, is that Dodge Durango. For reference, the complementary Yukon, the GMC Yukon, or that Chevy Tahoe, that same type of spec that you're gonna try and find is an extra $10,000 to sometimes $40,000 more, sometimes even more if you go into the Denali's and an AT4 for the Yukon stuff. You're paying a lot more money for all of these screens, all of these things that really, I don't think anybody actually really cares about. I think that there is a category of segment that is important for, but for the overall consumer, clearly nobody really cares, because the Durango sales are up. Now, the Durango started in 2011. That was the third generation. They've had 3 generations of these things. It really hasn't had a full design refresh since 2011. They've updated it here and there, but overall it's kept the same. There are physical buttons on the interior. You're getting a somewhat reliable V8. You're getting 3-row seats. You're getting a crazy cool retro style. The market is speaking, and Stellantis got really lucky that they were kind of, I'm gonna say it, a little lazy in their redesign when it comes to Dodge, and it's working out for them. They tried to go the full redesign route with that EV, with that Daytona Charger, right? Not doing so hot there. But they kept to their laurels with the Durango. They decided not to touch it because they thought it would be too much money to do so. And you know what? It worked out for them. I'm really liking it. We're seeing these retro styles, these more calmed down approaches instead of over-technologizing, that's a word, all of these cars. It's not worth it. Clearly the market is valuing these types of more traditional types of cars. And on top of that, Stellantis is really trying to regain their name when it comes to reliability. They actually hired over 2,000 engineers to focus on quality and reliability on their improvements, which means, you know, what were they doing before? But we're looking forward now. And they're trying to focus on the strategy that Toyota has kind of built their reputation on, which means we're not creating refreshed designs every other year. What we're doing is we're keeping a powertrain, which is usually the engine and the transmission, and we're gonna fine tune them over years. Right? That's why Toyota has been so successful with reliability, is because they keep that same engine over many, many, many years, and they just refine, they tweak, they improve. And hopefully that means that we're gonna see a reliability boost in the next coming years with Stellantis products, specifically the Dodge brand. We'll see how it works out for them. Nissan is taking a bold new approach with this huge pendulum swing when it comes to technology in cars. And they're deciding on a couple things. One, they're bringing back the Xterra. Yes, they actually killed off this car in 2015, right on the precipice of when these types of off-roading cars started to blow up, and they're bringing it back. Now, they're not bringing it back until late 2028, potentially 2029, but we're talking about it now because it matters. So the specific specs that they decided to go to. So the Xterra is this mid-sized, rugged, basically a mid-sized SUV that is really trying to go up against those 4Runners, those Broncos, those Wranglers, those really heavy-duty cars that love to just overland and go off-road. And they had a pretty legendary history with the Xterra. So this is really interesting. So they're going up against those Toyota 4Runners, so that what they want to do is bring back the 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6, literally spitting in the face of Toyota, saying, don't get those 4 cylinders, come back to us, we've got the V6. And they're also going to do a hybrid platform as well, which I think makes sense for just fuel economy purposes. It's going to be sharing a platform with the Frontier, which is currently what their pickup is. They've had this kind of Tacoma fighter, this Toyota Tacoma fighter, the Frontier, which is a body on frame platform, which just means that they have usually a better towing capacity. They're gonna have around 300 horsepower, and the expected price is anywhere between 40 to 50K, which honestly for these days is actually very reasonable. So they're really trying to go up against and bring back that ruggedness back into Nissan, because Nissan's been kind of slacking these days. They're underneath Toyota, they're underneath a lot of these, you know, more popular car brands, and I think this is them betting back on themselves and seeing what the market's gonna do. On top of that, they're saying, I also want to keep alive. And that's what Nissan's doing with the Z Nismo. So they're still keeping the manual, now more than ever. Only, I'm pretty sure I read this correctly, where less than 1% of all car sales in the US are manuals. Less than 1%. So it really, when you're looking at the numbers, and if you're looking at, you know, a private equity mind and you're trying to just look at efficiency, it makes no sense. However, there is a market still for manuals. There are people who love the manual cars. So when you look at what is manuals out there right now, so what manuals can you get? The Subaru WRX, people who buy that, over 80% of them buy manuals. The GR Corolla, over 71% buy manuals. The Miata, they also buy manuals. Over 60% of people that buy Miatas buy manuals. And now the Nissan Z, also 46% of them buy manuals. So the market is there. It's a little bit more niche, but you get a lot of street cred with the car enthusiasts. Because car enthusiasts and people like a more soulful approach to their car. And I think this is showing the world and car enthusiasts specifically, if you want a fun car in a world where manuals are getting rid of left and right, hitting that chopping block of bureaucratic BS, come to Nissan. We're gonna have a Nissan Z with a manual ready for you, hopefully with a little bit of a better engine coming soon, but the pedigree of the Nissan 370Z is unparalleled. So I'm excited for this new approach with the manual. Also, Nissan's pulling out all the stops and they're bringing back the Skyline. And no, I'm not talking about, Paul Walker's Skyline, the GTR version, which is so great. They really should bring back that specific one. But they're bringing back the Skyline series. Now what that means is, Nissan has Infinity. Kind of like how Toyota has Lexus, Nissan has Infinity. And what they're gonna do is, they had that Skyline series with the Q50. Now those Q50s are just really nice, good looking sedans. I always thought that Infinity, Nissan, made really nice, very good looking sedans. It's great that they're kind of bringing that back because we're seeing not a lot of sedans being made these days. A lot of people are going back to these mid-sized SUVs. That's what they're really going for in the market, but they're saying, let's go back to making some cool, slick looking sedans. And I'm all here for it. I think this is gonna be really good. Some of the things that we're seeing, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive types of specs, anywhere between 44 to 60K, twin turbo V6, 3 liter. Honestly, I love how Nissan is just keeping on spitting in the face of Toyota and saying, no 4-cylinder, the V6. I like it, guys. I'm liking what I'm seeing, Nissan. Also, Nissan's also smart. They want to hedge their bets. They want to still be in that EV space. And that's why they're fully electrifying the Juke. Now, the Juke has gotten such bad press because they're like, ew, it's so ugly. But I'm like, you can't complain that, oh, cars are looking so boring, oh, they're looking so ugly and bland, why aren't car companies, taking more chances? Bro, they are! Nissan said, I'm gonna make something cool and interesting. And is it weird? Yes! It's super freaking weird! The previous generation of the Juke had literal insect eyes just beaming at you. They literally looked like dragonfly eyes, I think. They looked intense. They looked cool. They looked different. They looked interesting. And this one is no different. It's all like geometric and like funky and weird. Honestly, I like it. Be weird, be different. We don't always have to have the same design, the same blah blah blah. Fuel efficiency is good, but let's have some fun. Let's be a little ridiculous. Let's have that lunacy. Let's have it back. And I like that Nissan's taking some chances, making mistakes, getting messy. I'm liking it. Good for you, Nissan. I think this is gonna be the thing that's gonna turn us back around, Nissan. So, is technology slowly killing the car industry? My opinion, yes. I'm being backed up with market research of just how the Durango's doing, how those sales are going up, how a lot of other sales are going down. Cost, that's a big thing. All of this additional technology and all of these luxury BS things, they're building up that price. Average car buyer, I'm pretty sure per month, average car buyer right now per month, I think is spending over $700 a month. I think that might be more. And I'm pretty sure that now more than ever, people who are paying $1,000 a month per month has never been higher for their car. Cars are too expensive. It's starting to become something that's only for the wealthy, and that's not how it should be. Not in America. Not these red, white, and blues. That's not how it should be. Every man should be able to have a car. And the Durango is a perfect representation of that. Yes, it's not gonna have the best technology in the world, but that's not what I think the market needs. It needs the basics of technology. It needs physical buttons. We need something that still keeps the practicality of a car. This isn't a laptop. This isn't an iPhone. This is a car. Yes, it gets you from point A to point B, but it also has a soul. We're getting lost in the sauce of all this AI and technology and data centers and this and that and that and this. And the bottom line is that if you want a car that's going to sell in today's market, you need to differentiate yourself. Nissan has realized that. They're finding their niche, bringing back manuals. They're coming more with exciting EVs like the Juke. They're bringing back their Xterra, so they're getting back into that rugged mindset, fighting those Broncos, fighting those Wranglers. Instead of just being basic, instead of just looking at what everyone else is doing, having some differentiation is gonna be the thing that keeps the car industry alive. Is technology taking over the car industry, and not in the best way? I think we've kind of gotten lost in the sauce a little bit too much. But let me know what you think. Have we? Have we not? Like, comment, share, subscribe. Love to hear your thoughts. See you next time, boy!